Hi, and welcome to the first of Digital Jersey's Coding Week videos. We'll be looking at the language of the internet today, HTML specifically, trying to keep it as short as possible, and you'll be able to go along with these lessons live, as it won't cost you anything to access the tools I'm using today. Having a little play around with a bit of new technology as well, an app called that's actually called that, to give you this kind of professional looking video background with some presentations that you can click around. That's actually what my loft looks like behind this green screen, a bit of lighting. But again, we're just going to look at some HTML today. We could be talking to the students of Jersey through Skill Show coming up in October, and we're running a competition from Doodle Labs, a web design company, and they'll be taking you through more detail. What I know, I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none, but I will get you on that first journey of HTML and explain it, hopefully in a simplistic way for you to access now using free tools, so it won't cost you a thing. So please do spend the next 5 to 10 minutes having a go at HTML, and then maybe you can help your son or daughter through this competition next month. If you do find this really interesting and a starting journey, if you go to the Digital Jersey website, we have some part-time courses down here, and you can go through to them. And we have 6-week design in Photoshop, data science, introduction to podcasting, coding week, coding using web technology that we're kind of starting today, and a digital marketing course. And we're doing that all through today using an app with Trinket. So I'm getting rid of myself now so I can continue along my journey, and you don't need to see my face to interrupt you. And what we're going to do now is go through this. So there was my green screen, and now it's off. So usually as a web designer, you would use a web design tool or proper piece of software. There's loads of them about, but we're just going to do this all on the internet. So if you go to trinket.io, so that's Trinket as spelled in front of you here, .io, you will find yourself here. If you just do /HTML, it will take you to a page that you can start to do some work and edit and see what you're doing here. If you were to delete everything, for example, here, it would all go, and so would the image on the right-hand side. But it can be quite useful to log in, because then your work is saved, and we will be building on these sessions during the week. So if I click log on, and then sign in with Google, or you can sign up with any of these or create a new login. I just like to use my personal Gmail account here. And you are in Trinket. So again, you don't need to sign up. You can just do /HTML. I just like to save as I go along. Now in the top bar here, you can click on that and go to New Trinket, and then you can go to HTML. That's why I like Trinket, because there's actually some Python, some other languages that you can get to use all online, all for free. So I'm going to click that HTML there, and it takes you here. Now, this screen is what we'll be working on for most of today, and it says index.html there. Now, that is by default the kind of beginning page on the internet. It's usually defined by index, and HTML is the language of the internet, hypertext markup language. So we're going to start with our very first journey on that, and the first thing we have to learn is tags. Tags are defined using the greater than or equal, greater than and less than symbols. I'm going to call them chevrons today, and there they are. That is a tag, and you open and close them. And it was giving me a little bit of a red cross there because I put nothing in my tag right now. So you open them up, and we're going to tell the internet what language I'm talking about. We're going to do !doc_type, and then we're going to say, spelled correctly, and we're going to say HTML. And it's that simple, really. Now the internet knows what I'm working on, but then I need to close that tag, for example. So I've got !doc_type HTML. Next, I'm then going to say, I'm going to open up a tag and say, what's next, HTML? And you can see that this is written slightly differently now, because we're about to write a tag that when I press the close is going to finish my tag automatically. Not all web design programs do that. They should, but not all do, and you might have to manually type that out. And the only difference there is that /. Everything between here is going to be hypertext markup language, or the internet page. So I'm going to press enter, and you can see that it separates them out. So think of it as a sandwich where these are the two bits of bread and all my parts are going to go in the middle. Then I'm going to give this web page a title, and you'll notice it's been indented. I'll show you that in a moment. I've opened my tag, and then I've gone for title. When I close it, there we go. It's suggested that the close tag is /title, and I'm going to write HTML lesson. And there we go. We've written the title for this web page. Again, I'm not seeing anything here because this was just the title of the page that comes in at the top here in your tabs. When I press enter, normally I might start to write something in a header, but today I'm just going to do it really, really quick. I'm going to go straight to the body of the text. I'm going to close that tag. Again, it's suggesting that /body, and I'm going to press enter. So again, I usually might have a title, I might have a header and a footer at the bottom, but today I'm just going to go for the main body of the text just to give us a flavor of what to do. Now this time when I went into body and I pressed my open tag, it's slightly indented again, and I'm going to show you why in a second. This time I'm just going to go for a P or paragraph tag. I'm going to close it, and again it's done it for you. I'm just going to write my heading, and now we should see that we have some writing saying my heading. Now it doesn't look very much like a heading. That's because paragraph text is just text. If I wanted it to look like a heading, I'm going to replace the P's with a H1, and if I've started with a H1, I must also finish it with a H1. So you can edit your code as you go along, as I've just done there. And now you can see there that that's a bigger heading. If I was to go for H2 straight away and close that, you'll notice the heading 2 is slightly smaller. So there's a couple of embedded headings that you can do there. If I press enter again, I'm going to do my P tag for my paragraph, and I'm going to text here. So we've got the basics of how you get a page going, and you notice now that the body here has little drop down. So if I want to make the code easier to read, I can get rid of it and say everything here is in the body, and I can open it and I can close it. So when your code gets really long with web pages, using your tabbing correctly and using your tags correctly helps you to organize your page. So you've basically done it. There's a HTML page, but it's boring. So what we're going to have a look at next are a couple of things that you use to make it interactive. So the next one I'm going to use is a Href, and this is a link. So I'm going to start by opening a tag and do a Href, and then I'm going to do equals, and then I'm going to do a speech mark, and it's automatically closed the speech mark because in here I'm going to do the URL or the web address that I'm going to paste in here. I'm not going to do anything just yet, and then I'm going to close that down, and again it's finished off my a tag, but nothing's here. That's because the text goes just here. So I would say click here for Google. Okay, and there you go, you've got that link, but it's not going anywhere yet. You'd have to type into here https://google.com. The S, by the way, sometimes it's available and sometimes it's not. It means that the website is secure. You shouldn't really use a website if it's not a secure website. There are examples, if you trust the website or know the person running it, that might be okay. But people can have a look at what you're doing and typing in usernames and passwords and things like that. It's usually given away. You won't see the HTTPS there, but the lock there will give you the information to have a look whether it's secure or not. And this connection is secure. So that will take me off to Google. There we go, just done. There I am poking at the bottom there. Now, what we're going to have a look at now is, let's see if we can stick an image in. Now, images aren't actually all that easy to think about, because some of you will be just thinking about going to Google, typing in cat, usually quite a safe image search to use, and then go for images, and there we have our images. Now, you might borrow an image from there, and by borrow, you do mean steal. So you should be using images yourself that you've created or paid for, and you would store them on your server, which is basically a posh way of saying your computer that's always online, which people go to access their website. You can either pay for a server or run for your own. Most people pay for their own. If you did want to go to one of these sites to use the image, you must, in the search, go to Tools, go to usage rights and use the right license so that you're not stealing. These people have said these images are free to use. We also have free stock photos. Many websites like it, that you have to read what the licenses for each image, but generally free to use. So if I search for cat on one of these sites, like stocksnap.io, you will see better images. But like everything that's free, it's got some sponsored links to go. It's got to make money somehow, and everything that's not starred is an image that isn't that somebody else is here. So I'm going to click on that cat image, and I'm going to try and use this one later. Okay. Next, what I do then is, how do I get that image in? So I'm going to start a new line again, and this time I'm going to type in the code for an image, and that is img / and then you're going to define a source. Sorry, not a / just a space, src equals, and then some speech marks. And in here will go the text or the link to the page. If you had it on your own server, it might just be something like image.jpg, which would be the image, and it would look immediately there for that image. But as you can see here, I don't have that. What I'm going to do is use this free to use image, and I'm going to copy the image address just by right-clicking or two-finger on a trackpad. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to paste in between those speech marks, and there we go. There is my image. Now, you can just see here, I didn't delete everything, so always check if the image hasn't come up. I forgot to get rid of that I, and there is the image of the cat. It's massive right now, but I'm going to deal with that in just a second. So if your image doesn't come up, it is likely that you just copy and paste it incorrectly, and you can just get rid of it, paste again, and it will bring you back your image. The next thing I always do is make sure that you are making your website accessible for people that can't quite see the images correctly, or the blind themselves that have the page readers. And you do alt for an alternative text equals, and then some speech marks which close themselves, and I do cat, okay, or cute cat. And that way it will read out, say this is an image of, and it will read your alternative text. And let's deal with that large image right now. I'm just going to stick in, I could stick in specific widths and heights, but I'm just going to stick it to width equals with some speech marks. All right, 150 pixels, the number of pixels across the screen, and then I'm going to close my image tab. So there's quite a lot goes on with adding an image in there. And if I brought this across, you'll also see that the click here for Google and the image are on the same line. It kind of resizes when I move it around, but they're on different lines here. And that's because the internet will read something off as a continuous line, even if you've put some enter keys in. So if you would like to put a space or a line in there, there are nicer ways of doing this, but you can use a BR tag. And you'll notice that this is the first time we've used a tag that doesn't have an end tag. The break tag is one of those few tags that doesn't have a / end to it. But if I did put two BR tags in, it'd be an ugly way of moving that image down the page. Could even put another one in. I wouldn't be advised to do it this way. There are better ways that we'll discuss as the week goes on to do that, but you have basic understanding of how to move things around or force something onto the next page. Now, we could go to change the font colors and the font sizes and everything like that. We will get on to making this look pretty, but this is the fundamentals of how to get your image on. We will now, or next session, look at how to make this pretty, using cascading style sheets. And as the week goes on, use JavaScript, real code, because there are people saying right now that using HTML isn't coding, it's just a kind of web language. But we will be using JavaScript as well towards the end of the week. Now, again, there may be some coders looking at this and some web developers screaming at the screen right now to say that's not how you do it these days. HTML's moved on, and they're probably quite right. But this is a basic understanding of tags and how you insert images. And if you do want to know more, like I said, come to the Digital Jersey page, look at the short courses and learn how to do it from the professionals. There's also lots of people to ask in Jersey. And if you want to contact Digital Jersey to know the next steps, please do so. We need lots more coders, lots more people in the digital industry, and it's a really exciting job to be in. Always changing, always exciting. So thanks very much for listening, and we'll continue this journey and take us away from the boring stuff into the interesting ways to make your website look fun tomorrow.